Hello. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Excuse me. I'm Dana LaVoie. I'm so happy you're here. If you're watching the replay or watching this on YouTube, I'm thrilled that you're here. Be sure and go ahead and leave your comments below because I will come back and reply. And also, please remember to share this video. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Dana LaVoie. I'm an acupuncturist and herbalist with 15 years experience specializing in women's health. And I help women use effective natural remedies for menopause so they can have an easy menopause and feel great afterwards. And today we're going to talk specifically about menopause, stress, and anxiety. Specifically menopause and cortisol effect and why you become more sensitive to stress during menopause. Because if you are wondering, yes, you do. So, if you've maybe started thinking that, leaving your home and your family and your job to live in a house in Italy or maybe Greece for a year or indefinitely sounds really good, or that it might be the only way to avoid biting someone's head off or going into a depression, you're in the right place. You are not alone. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, I want to ask you guys a question, and go ahead and put in the comments below, put your answer. How many of you right now are struggling with depression, irritability, brain fog, or anxiety? Just put it in the comments, yes or no, or which one that you've been dealing with. Maybe you've tried to stay upbeat while dealing with, the little annoyances and stressors, the ones you used to be able to handle, but now nothing seems to work. Or maybe you're having menopausal or perimenopausal mood swings, because a woman said to me recently, when she walks into a room now, her family gives her this look, right? Like, which one are you? The sane, loving mom and wife we've always had, or the crazy one who yells and cries for no reason and who keeps showing up out of the blue all of a sudden? If that's you, you're going to love this training. At the end, I'm going to invite you to sign up for a free copy of my guide to taking charge of menopause. It's got my 3 favorite natural remedies in it so that you can learn even more how to manage and control your stress during menopause. I'll give you more details later. But for now, let's just jump in and get started. So I've been working with women in menopause for 15 years, and I've noticed everyone seems to become more sensitive to stress during menopause. Women tell me, one minute I'm laughing, the next I'm crying. My mood swings are so bad I yell at the top of my lungs. Or I have this uncontrollable urge to cry all the time. Or the littlest things bother me now and I can no longer bite my tongue. Or I can wake up in a good mood and then 30 minutes later I want to cry and scream for no reason. Or my family suffers because of my massive crazy mood swings. I go from a great mood right into psycho at the drop of a dime. I wish I knew how to control them and get relief from these menopause mood swings. These are all real things that women have said to me. So this is real, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is why this happens and what you can do about it. So this is so common, and the reason is why, because chemically and physically, you are more sensitive to stress during menopause. And here's why. Here's the facts. Changing hormone levels during perimenopause and menopause, and lower hormone levels after menopause make us more sensitive to stress. Plus, menopause itself, the hot flashes and the trouble sleeping, that can be stressful. So we've got a big new stressor in our lives, and we're more sensitive to every bit of stress. Have you noticed, please put in the comments and let me know, have you noticed that your sensitivity to stress has increased? When was the moment that you knew something was different? Please jump in and let me know, when was that moment? So now I want to talk about, why does this happen? Okay, so progesterone and estrogen are 2 of your biggest female hormones. Progesterone especially works against and buffers the effects of stress. It buffers the effects that stress has on our body and our mind. Progesterone makes you feel warm and calm and kind of mellow and happy to go along with what everybody else needs. Well, progesterone and estrogen levels go down during menopause. So as that progesterone goes down, that buffering effect against stress, that buffering effect goes down too. So we feel stress more easily and more intensely. It's like our nerve endings are more exposed. And after menopause, you still have hormones, right? So if you're healthy and have healthy ovaries and adrenals, your body still makes estrogen and progesterone and testosterone after menopause, postmenopausally, for the whole rest of your life, okay? The levels are lower than they used to be, but they're still supposed to be there. And here's something about postmenopause that makes you more sensitive to stress postmenopausally. After menopause, your ovaries become less active and your adrenal glands start to make some of your remaining estrogen and progesterone for you. They kind of step into the breach. But your adrenals are also what makes your stress hormone, like cortisol. So if there is a choice, right, if you are stressed and low on progesterone, your adrenals will always choose to make the cortisol first because that is related to survival. Okay, so that's always going to be the priority for your body. And so when you get stressed postmenopausally, not only does your cortisol go up, but your progesterone actively is going down. So you're stressed and you feel that stress much more intensely. Okay, so yes, during perimenopause, during menopause, and postmenopause, you're going to tend to be more sensitive to stress. Okay, so what does all this mean? Okay, so basically, here's what happens when your stress hormone levels are too high during and after menopause. It tends to drive your female hormone levels down, which buffers stress less and increases symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia. So not only are your female hormone levels lower, but this increased stress messes with your body's ability to balance your hormones. So things get even more out of balance. And that during menopause, it's really important for your body to balance things really well because they're changing. So that balancing mechanism needs to be working at optimum, and high stress levels really mess that up. So that's what's going on. What does it feel like? What does it feel like when you have decreased female hormones and increased cortisol, stress hormones? So you feel more easily irritable, that biting someone's head off thing, overwhelmed, anxious, and depressed. It's also common to experience weight gain because of this, especially around the middle, to feel exhausted even after sleeping well, to have insomnia, to have foggy thinking, to catch frequent colds, to have increased cravings for unhealthy foods, to have problems with digestion, bloating is a common one, to have low sex drive, to have more aches and pains, to have low mood, we kind of covered that already, more of a tendency to be overweight, and it actually makes you feel less full and less satisfied when you eat. So you have more cravings and it's harder to feel full. So it's kind of a vicious cycle that happens. Often when this starts to happen, women are offered antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds by their doctor. But and that can help, but you can really more get to the root of the problem by balancing your hormones, because that's where a lot of this is coming from. And so I want to talk to you about some of the great natural things you can do that get to the source of this new stress, that help balance your hormones, decrease your cortisol stress hormone levels, and increase your relaxing, buffering progesterone and other female hormone levels. So What I recommend is that you help your body to balance hormones, right? Keeping stress hormone levels lower, keeping progesterone levels higher, and helping your body's balancing mechanism work well so you can reduce your stress by reducing cortisol, and you can reduce your sensitivity to stress by increasing progesterone. Now, some women think, okay, so I am just going to wait it out. This is menopause. It's going to be over in like 3 years. I'm just going to wait till it's over and then all of this will go away. But waiting it out and doing nothing can backfire, or just taking medication as a Band-Aid to kind of cover up the stress symptoms. It can backfire because it can lead to a cascade of negative effects that let your progesterone and estrogen levels get too low. So not only is that bad for stress, but if you can keep those estrogen and progesterone levels higher after menopause, it has a lot of health protective and anti-aging benefits. That's why a lot of people are recommending a little hormone replacement therapy now for women and saying it has health benefits. You can keep your hormone levels higher naturally and get all those benefits without any possible side effects. So that is a wonderful thing to do. And it's really going to help to prevent that weight gain around the middle, because weight gain around the middle, when you have that special kind of weight that you put on around your middle, actually makes stress hormones. That tissue itself increases your stress hormones level and increases cravings and decreases those feelings of fullness and satisfaction. So once you start gaining around the middle, it's like it wants you to keep gaining more. So this is sort of, if you decide to do nothing and just wait menopause out, this is the cascade of negative effects that you can experience, as opposed to using natural methods to balance hormone levels, decrease stress hormone levels, and increase progesterone and estrogen levels all during menopause. That's going to not only help you feel better, get to the root of the stress, but put you in a great place after menopause, where you have all these health protective and anti-aging, substances still circulating around in your body. So today's video was about understanding where stress is coming from during menopause, why stress is increasing during menopause, and why I feel it's important to deal with it at the source, right, by balancing hormones. And I'm going to be coming back on another live video really soon, and I am going to be talking about exactly what to do to help manage this. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to get started right away, I invite you to click the link. As soon as I'm done live, I'm going to put it right under this video. You can get a free guide that I have created, and it includes my 3 favorite natural remedies for menopause. So for balancing those hormones, decreasing stress, increasing your good hormones, this is a great place to start. You can get that for free. I also have a Facebook group called Menopause Basics, where we are talking about this stuff all the time, and I would love to see you in there. And now, if anyone has questions, I would love to answer them. So if you are watching on my Facebook page, I should see your questions pop up right on my screen just by you putting them in the comments below. So if anyone has questions, please go ahead and chime in. There are a couple of questions that had come in that I'm going to answer until I see more popping up. Hi, Takora. I see you on there. So great to have you here today. I can see your comments, so that's great. So what can I do to handle stress, right? So we talked a lot today about why stress is problematic. So what can you do to handle it? That is a commonly asked question. So like I said, this is the first in a series of videos I'm doing on stress during menopause. So I'm going to cover all the different ways you can handle stress and bring those stress hormones down, because using a combination of different ways of doing that is what's going to give you the best results. But diet is a huge way, right? There's a lot you can do with diet. There's a lot you can do with supplements, and I'm going to talk about those more later. But to get started today, I recommend using the tips in that free guide, right, combined with either the guided meditation from my last blog. It's free on my website in my last blog post. It's called The Best 2-Minute Meditation for Menopause. I'll put the link below. Or there's another post on there, a video I did called Acupressure Ear Massage Meditation. And it shows you exactly how to do an ear massage that takes like maybe 30, 45 seconds. And it really just brings those stress hormone levels down. It's really effective. And so you can use that every day, 3 times a day, when you're at a red light, when you're online at the grocery store. You just have to remember to do it. And it's a very effective way to start to manage those stress hormone levels. So a little bit of daily stress management, which is a lot easier than you think, is a great way to get started. And we're going to talk more later about why it works so much better when you then combine it with diet and supplements. All right, I've got a question here. Oh, okay, Alice, how do you know when you're in menopause? Okay, so menopause has a very specific definition. Menopause itself means you have not had your menstrual cycle for 12 consecutive months. So you've gone 12 months straight without having a period. When that happens, officially you are in menopause. But you can be in perimenopause. And in perimenopause, you can have a lot of these same symptoms and hormonal changes going on. You can be in perimenopause for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, for some women as much as 15 years before you actually hit menopause. And I consider perimenopause, it's kind of part of the menopause picture. Now, if you've had something going on, like you can have a surgical menopause if you have a hysterectomy and your ovaries are removed. So there's other ways you can go into menopause, but a natural menopause, peri goes on for quite a while, and you can have a lot of symptoms during perimenopause. And the thing is, if you start balancing your hormones, building up your female hormones, and, balancing and bringing down your stress hormones during perimenopause, you're not going to get hit so hard when actual menopause hits and your hormones take that last little dive. During perimenopause, your progesterone usually is dropping pretty fast. And when you hit actual menopause and you haven't had that period for 12 months, that's usually when your estrogen kind of drops down to meet it. So they're a little different, but they can both be really intense, and they can both be really easy if your hormone's in good shape while you're going through them. So like I said, these questions, I can see them on my screen. It's working out great. Just pop them in the comments. And if you're watching the replay of this video, go ahead and put your questions in the comments, because I'm going to come back and check the comments and answer your questions later. Or if you're watching on YouTube, same thing. Go ahead and post in the comments and I will come back and answer your questions. And yes, Alice is asking if I have herbs for this. Absolutely. I have herbs for this. I love herbs for this. I always recommend, getting your diet and lifestyle, eating some of the right foods that gives your body the building blocks and the base it needs, doing a little daily stress management. But as far as I'm concerned, once you got that going on, herbs are like the best thing. When I first hit perimenopause myself, because I'm in perimenopause, I started having the craziest mood swings during PMS. I mean, it was out of control. The first time it happened, I was like, what is going on? I was either screaming or crying. I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was just gone the day my period started. And I thought, oh, wow, that's what that was. That was perimenopausal mood swings, right? So I changed the herbs I was taking. And within 3 months, they were totally gone. And PMS was back to just, not a big deal. So yes, herbs are my favorite thing for perimenopausal symptoms, for the mood swings, for the night sweats, for menopausal symptoms, for the hot flashes. So if you want to talk about herbs, definitely contact me. You can go on my website, give me a call, send me an email, and we can talk about herbs. I have a great program that I can get customized herbs to you if you're anywhere in the United States. So this is something I set up because I feel like herbs are so important for helping women be more comfortable. All right. So another question I had come in, why don't I even feel like myself anymore? All right, Alice, fantastic. I am going to look out for your call. Okay, so that, like, when those perimenopausal mood swings hit me, I didn't feel like myself. I was like, who is this crazy person, right? And hormone levels affect our neurotransmitters. I mean, they affect what's going on in our brain quite a bit. They change our brain chemistry. So it's natural at this stage in your life for things to change a little, for you to become kind of a new version of yourself. It can be healthy at this age of perimenopause and menopause to start thinking, the kids are growing up. I'm going to prioritize myself just a little bit more. You're not in that, your hormones when you're fully fertile, when you're pregnant, you get that really high progesterone. You're sort of like, happy to take care of everybody else. Nature does that on purpose because that's kind of what a mom needs to do. And in perimenopause and menopause, your hormone levels go down. So you're not going to put up with quite as much, doing everything for everybody and nothing for yourself, but in a good way, in a good and appropriate way. So a little bit of that is okay, but the out of control, not feeling like yourself at all, that's when things are not just a little different. That's when they're out of balance with each other, right? You lose your perspective. You lose your sense of who you are. Bringing those hormone levels back into balance with each other when they're high, medium, or low is going to make you feel like a version of yourself. It's when they're out of balance inside that things go, whoa. All right. So another question I had that came in was, when this happens, should I try hormone replacement or bioidentical hormones or antidepressants? And, you really have to talk to your doctor about that. It's a personal decision. There's a place for those, and they can help manage your symptoms. But what I recommend, even if you're using those things, is to use natural methods as well. If you use natural methods like diet and lifestyle and herbs to give your body the building blocks it needs, to give it everything it needs to build up your female hormone levels and help manage stress hormone levels from the inside out, and make sure your detox pathways are open and working really well, you're setting the stage for your body to get things in balance as much as it can. And then if you need extra help, I recommend, if you're having breakthrough symptoms still, I recommend adding in some herbs, or for some women, it might be adding in some, bioidentical hormones or some medications from your doctor. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do recommend putting it in, along with those natural remedies that set the stage for balance from the inside out. I find that combination works better. It's instead of just putting a Band-Aid over the problem, you're healing it from the inside at the same time as you're getting some extra immediate symptomatic relief. I find that those methods all work better, and I feel are safer when you have the natural methods going on at the same time. And I had another question. After you hit post-menopause, I hope it's okay that I'm moving these words around. I don't know what that looks like to you guys. They're covering up the comments on the screen. After you hit post-menopause, when do you begin to feel better and more human again? Okay, that is a great question. So, or like, how long are menopausal mood swings going to last, right? Do they end with menopause? So there are women who have menopausal symptoms during menopause. They have hot flashes for a couple of years, and then they go away and they feel like just fine afterwards. And that's really what's supposed to happen in your body. And I find that happens when, your hormone levels are high but balanced with each other. And then during perimenopause and menopause, they lower, but they're still balanced, right? And then when you get postmenopause, they're nice and even, and you just go along here and you're feeling great with really not any symptoms. But for a lot of women, as your hormone levels change, they don't change in this even way. It's like one hormone goes, whoa, and then your body's trying to get those even, right? And then another one goes like this, and then stress goes high, and it's like, there's so much change going on that your body can't get them balanced with each other. I feel like when they're balanced with each other and none of them are totally bottomed out, that's when you feel good. And for some women, I think what happens is that at post-menopause, it's like you feel like you should be done with menopause, but something is out of balance. Like your body wasn't able to make that last adjustment to get them in balance with each other, or one of them dropped so low and you don't have enough building blocks or something to get it back up. You need to get into a post-menopausal balance. And I often see women who, oh, I've been having hot flashes since menopause. It's been 25 years. They're still having night sweats. So they need a post-menopausal adjustment, I call it. And usually once you make that adjustment, then they fall into that post-menopausal place where they don't have a lot of symptoms. So I feel like your body was designed that you should feel just totally fine after menopause. But there are some things that can happen that leave you with those symptoms, or that leave you with, if you don't have enough of that estrogen. Remember I said you're still supposed to have estrogen in your body. If your body's not making enough, even that little bit, if it's not making that little bit you're still supposed to have, you can have things like vaginal dryness, recurrent UTIs, your skin can get like extra super saggy and wrinkly really fast. So there's a lot of postmenopausal adjustments you can do naturally to get you to that place that I feel like your body was meant to be in after menopause, which is a pretty nice place to be, and you do feel like yourself again. Is night sweats considered a part of this? Yes, absolutely. One of the most common symptoms, and very often night sweats is the first thing to hit. So night sweats, especially just during PMS, that is often one of the first signs of perimenopause. And then as you progress farther into perimenopause and into menopause, then the night sweats might start happening more intensely. You might have more copious sweating. You might have it every night, but often it'll start during PMS at the beginning of perimenopause. If I have women come in and say, I ask them if they sweat at night, and they say just occasionally, and I say, well, does it happen during PMS? Is that when it happens? And they say yes. I think, okay, their hormones are starting to drop, the beginning of perimenopause. So that's a very common from the beginning of perimenopause all the way through to the postmenopausal state. And then they should stop eventually, but you can have those pretty much the whole time. Now, if your night sweats are soaking, Alice is going to come and see me. So if your night sweats are soaking, where you're sweating so much that you're soaking your pajamas, you're soaking the sheets, you have to get up and change your nightgowns and strip the bed because you're like in a puddle. So those kind of night sweats especially are actually very draining to your female hormones, and have kind of a vicious cycle negative effect. So, if you feel warm at night, you kick off the covers for a minute, just a little bit of heat. Sometimes it's hard to avoid that completely during menopause, but if you're having really soaking sweats, that's something that I always like to try to stop with when I'm working with women with natural remedies, to keep it just mild. So, but yeah, it's common. All right. Well, it's been almost a half an hour. I have had so much fun. If you have further questions, do not hesitate to go ahead and put them in the comments, because I will come back. Alice says soaked. Yeah. So it's actually really common. And I find that taking it from soaking to just a little bit warm is something that can often happen with natural treatment, right? So I love treating that because it's so unpleasant and it often responds really well. So I have enjoyed this so much. If you have come after I'm live, go ahead and put your comments or questions right below this video. If you're watching the replay, I'm so glad you decided to join me. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm thrilled to have you here. In either case, go ahead and put your comments and questions below the video, and I will come back and answer them. All right, I'm going to keep an eye on this video. Be sure and grab that free guide to get started with some of my favorite natural remedies. Go ahead and try those quick and easy stress management techniques to start to bring those cortisol levels down right away. And the other thing is my Facebook group, Menopause Basics, is a great place to hang out. I'm in there just about every day. We hang out, we talk, we answer questions. There's so much support in there. I would love to see you over there. And I'm going to put that link below. And if you're on Facebook, you'll see the link at the top of this page as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I had a great great time. I'm Dana LaVoie, and I have really enjoyed talking to you about natural remedies for stress and anxiety during menopause today. Bye-bye now.